Hello, welcome back to Number Sense, the YouTube channel that will help you make sense of all the numbers in your life, or at least the ones in your math book. My name is Susanna, and this is video number 1 of a series that we are going to do on fractions. I know, everybody's favorite thing to hate about math, but I believe that by the end of this series, you will feel much more confident in your ability to use fractions in your math and in your everyday life. So let's get started. First of all, I'd like to introduce you to some materials that we'll be using throughout this series. I'll be following some of the lessons in this book, Right Start Fractions, Learn Fractions in 42.5 days, but we'll probably condense it down to less than that. This is a great book. It's sold by Right Start Math. I will link to it below. It's a great book for anybody who tutors. It's just about fractions, and I think there's a little bit of decimal work that we'll get to as well. But this is a wonderful resource. It also comes with a book that has some worksheets in it, just for a little bit of practice for the students. Another thing that you'll probably see us use every day is this fraction chart. All right, you see it starts at 1, then it has halves, thirds, fourths, fifths, sixths, all the way down to tenths. Now, I highly recommend this fraction chart over some of the ones that you can get on, say, Amazon or other places. There's lots of really cute, colorful fraction charts that you can find, but I actually would recommend avoiding the colorful ones because then your students, or you, whoever's watching this video, may find that they're just memorizing, eighths are all green. So if you say pick up an eighth, they'll just pick up a green card instead of paying attention to the sizes and how they relate to each other. So that's very important. Also, along with this fraction chart are fraction pieces. So for each section of the chart, we have pieces that go along with it. So there's 2 halves, there's 3 thirds, there's 6 sixths, and so on. Another thing I like about this fraction chart is that it has all the fractions down to tenths. Most fraction charts that you'll see will skip the sevenths or the ninths. And in this case, it doesn't. And I really like that because you get to see some of the relations and some pretty cool stuff that will relate to more advanced math actually in the future. You'll see on the board behind me, I have smaller fraction pieces. These I actually printed off from the Right Start website. So you could also do that. I will link below. It's a super saver set. I printed them off on cardstock, laminated them, and then put small magnets on the backs of them so I can use them up on my whiteboard as needed. So those will be used a lot. We also have fraction cards. These are playing card size cards that we'll use for a lot of games that I will be showing you how to do. I would recommend buying these if you possibly can. They're not very expensive and they really are awesome to use. And I think it would be kind of a pain to make all the cards out of 3x5 cards or something like that. So that is my recommendation. But you can you can follow along with the videos and learn a whole lot without having any of the cards. So I'm just showing you what I'll be using and you can decide what will work for you and what you need. For starters, we're going to look at these fraction pieces. And if my student was here right now, I would have them look at the pieces for a while, play with them, compare sizes, notice different things, ask them, do you see any patterns here? What do you see? How many half pieces are there? Well, there's 1 and there's 2. Okay, how many thirds are there? Let's see. 1/3, 1/3. Let's see. Are there any more? Yes, there's another third. Okay, there's 3 thirds, there's 2 halves. Interesting. All right, next, I would say, I want you to look at this fraction chart, this completed fraction chart. And we're going to use our fraction pieces to create this fraction chart. All right, so we're going to do that. And through the magic of technology, it will not take that long. finished fraction chart. Now, let's look at the 1/2 piece. Why do you think 1/2 is written this way? Why is 1/2 written this way? Think about it for a minute. Let me know in the comments if you get the right answer. It's one piece divided into two parts. So we have 1, the line shows division, and 2. 1 divided by 2 is 1/2. All right, let's look at the 1/4. Here we go. Why is 1/4 written that way? I see one whole divided into 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. 1 divided by 4 is 1/4. All right, let's see. How about 1/9? Let's see. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 of them. I see one whole divided into 9 equal parts. That makes 1/9. Each of them is 1/9. What we're using here are unit fractions. That means fractions where the top is 1 always. Okay, those are unit fractions because there's just one of them. So we have 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, 1/5, 1/6, 1/7, 1/8, 1/9, 1/10. Of course, the list of unit fractions goes on forever and ever. There are an infinite number of unit fractions that you could use. Now, you'll notice that except for 1/2, the way that we say fractions is using ordinal numbers, which means 3rd, 4th, 5th. I'm in 3rd place, 1/3. He's in 9th place, 1/9. So that's how we read fractions. We don't say 1/3, 1/4, 1/5, or 1/2. We say 1, and then we have 1/2, and then 1/3, 4th, 5th, 6th, and so on. Now, if you have this at home, I would like you to break them up. So we're gonna separate them all out. Okay, this is really easy if you're doing it on a table with ones that aren't magnetic, actually. That's where the magnets are not always so great. They're great for on a whiteboard, but not so great for spreading out because you can just kind of push them all around. Okay, now let's find a 1/6 fraction piece. Tell me if you find one. Here's 1/6. I'm going to set it off to the side over here. Great job. All right, how about 1/3? Can we find 1/3? I see 1/3. Great. Let's set it aside. Did you find it too? How about 1/9? 1/9 is going to be kind of small. Let's see. Here's a couple together. 1/9. Great job. Did you find it faster than me? All right, now which piece is called the whole? That's right, 1. 1 is a whole. Do we have any halves? Yes. Here's a half, and here's a half. How many halves are there? That's right, 2 halves. Very good. Do we have any fourths? I see 1. Let's see. Any more fourths? Do you see a 4th somewhere? Here's 1. Oh, here's 2 right together. And are there any more? There's another one. How many fourths are there? That's right. There are 4 fourths. Good. Now we're going to take one of each of a whole and then one of each of the unit fractions, and we're going to build stairs. All right, so I'm starting with 1 on the bottom. Next, we're going to take 1/2. Now we're only using one of each, all right? So 1/2. What comes after 1/2? That's right, 1/3. Put 1/3. Next, we're going to take one of these 1/4. All right? Now 1/5. Then 1/6. Oh, we have one of those over here. 1/7, 1/8, 1/9, and lastly, our little guy, 1/10. Look at those stairs. Do you think you could climb those stairs? I don't think I could. They start out really long and then they get smaller and smaller and smaller. So maybe if you were an ant, you could climb these stairs. All right, this curve that these fractions make is actually called a hyperbola. That will show up again sometime in more advanced math. I think that's very cool. All right, which is more? Here's a question for you. Which is more, 4 or 5? If I have 4 cookies and you have 5 cookies, who has the most? That's right. 5 cookies is more than 4. But which is more, 1/4 or 1/5? That's right. 1/4 is actually greater. Which is more, 2 or 3? If you have 2 dogs and I have 3 dogs, who has more dogs? Yep, I do, 3. But which is more, 1/2 or 1/3? That's right, 1/2 is more. Which is more, 1/2 or 1? That's pretty easy to see. 1 is more. Very good. I hope you're seeing how simple fractions can be. Now, your homework for today is to comment below and name at least 5 unit fractions. All right, you can write them as a fraction or you can write them in words. Either one is totally fine.